Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the news of the week. I am Panda Pops, and I'm going to be bringing you all of the fun, interesting news, as well as our mentions of the week. So, let's get into the news. So, first up for our news, we have the Love and Music Festival. So many amazing experiences that you guys can play here, as well as some juicy rewards. We've got 80k sand for landowners, shared between all landowners that get to 200 EP. 50k sand for avatar owners. 30k sand open to absolutely everyone, so if you have not invested in the sandbox, it is possible to earn some sand rewards. So there you go, play the games, earn some sand. Next up, we have 5 catalysts for landowners, so this is only for landowners. Then we have some NFTs. Now, I personally love it when we have some NFTs given out during these. So we have the Love Mic NFT. Then we have the Stage NFT, only for landowners in Infinite Pulse. You will receive 1 copy of this NFT if you complete all the quests and if you own a land in the Infinite Pulse neighborhood. So you can click right here to see where the Infinite Pulse neighborhood is. So if you zoom out, it shows you. So it is within this area. Oh, I own a land there. Hello, me. I'm eligible. Haha. Anyway, carrying on with the news and being very professional. So we have a few events that will basically be ending in the next couple of days. So for some of this news of the week, these won't be there. So Cooniverse, Blast Valley, and Shintae Young will all be finished during the news of the week, so these won't be here. But we do still have Space Invaders in Shibuya 109. Path of the Legend is still about, and Entanglement for a few more days is still around. We obviously have the Game Maker Fun Builders Challenge. Make sure to go check out the re-uploaded AMA that happened on Twitch that is now on YouTube. So go check that out. Into the Unknown Game Jam. So do register for this. Registrations will close February the 28th. So do get registered. Even if you are unsure that you want to take part in this game jam, do still register. We do have some Vox Edit contests coming out soon, but we do have a partnered Vox Edit contest with Nukta. So do check that one out. Let's go over it real quick. So Nukta Vox Edit contest in collaboration with the Sandbox, as they are one of our partners. They want you to create an NPC that embodies Saudi culture. So it does need to be a character. You do need to be creating a character. And there are some very juicy prizes right here. 1st to 3rd place will get a land, and then 4th to 10th place will get a different avatar. And the avatars are mentioned from what collections. There are some inspirational images. Now, you don't have to only use the images that they have provided here. You can obviously use Google and get some inspiration pictures from there. They just use this as a help for you to understand roughly what they are looking for. So they are looking for you to create a character that represents Saudi culture. We also announced our Vox Edit mini contest, Warriors Equipment. We had some amazing submissions. Absolutely everybody should be very, very proud of themselves for those that participated, because honestly, the competition was fierce. There was so many really, really good assets. Here are just a few of the winners. We won't showcase them all, but you can go over to at VoxEdit over on Twitter, and you'll be able to see all of the winners there. Now for our mentions of the week. We have Tom Voxel with this honestly amazing portal. So amazing. What a great asset. And a great little video to showcase their Game Jam entry. Next is called Digital Delang. And they've made this honestly, this vehicle is so sleek. It is so sleek. It is very, very well made. Very well. I was so impressed when this came up on my screen. I was just beyond impressed with this one. The next artist that I want to showcase is Chris XP. They have created some absolutely amazing assets. They do have some up for sale right now. I'm showcasing these because they were part of the Create Fund, and I want to make sure that we are still highlighting those OG members. Really nice chair. Great. Honestly, high quality assets right here up for sale. So do go check them out. So the first seller I really want to mention is more of a collection, and it is Fantastic Worlds. This is from a lot of different artists within the Creative Fund, all varying prices. So do go check that out. The collection is called Fantastic Worlds. Our final seller for our mention of the week goes to Lomo Zero. This Shiba on the head. It is absolutely adorable. And this just sits on your avatar's head like a hat, and it just looks so cute. It's got speed 41. They have 9 available. They've minted 10, so they're obviously keeping one for themselves, which is smart. So our first one is Celestria by Vox. Great game, lots of fun, definitely has replayability. Go check that out. That is by Vox, and it is called Celestria. Next, I want to highlight this one, which is called Airbits World Single Player, by, and I'm going to say this name wrong, and I know I am, but by Zlito. So go check that experience out. That is our news of the week. If you would like to also be part of our mentions of the week, make sure that you are following me on Twitter, and I do post out tweets for you to either suggest somebody or to suggest yourself, and we do try to get through those, play those experiences, showcase those artists and other content creators. So make sure that you are reaching out to me, maybe even to Alex or Lucas, so we are able to showcase you. Now, back to your regular scheduled content!
Hey, welcome to the stream. Hope everyone's been doing well. It's another Monday, another day we go through Logic together and make sure that we have things working for you guys for your game jams and things like that. The last few streams we tried to do a PvP sort of game loop, but I kind of broke the instance with my advanced mechanics, I guess. Not really. It's just basic platforms with health that keeps dying, and the instance doesn't like it, but the devs had a look at it and they're going to see what they can do in the back end. But what I got lately is a question about teleporting everybody at the same time. As we discovered when we did this map, this obby race here, when players ran to the end of the line all at the same time, there was about 8 or 10 of us. It kind of bugged out and only 1 or 2 teleported, and all the rest stayed behind, and they had to walk out of the volume, back in the volume, to get teleported. But when I did the PvP game loop, I'm able to get all the players to teleport at the same time onto the battlefield. Now they all have different teleport locations, which is probably why they were all able to be teleported. So we're just going to go through that on a new map, see how it behaves, and see if we can find any workarounds, because people need this for their game jam, because it's an elimination race obby type game, and yeah, we'll go through that together. Create a new map. How is everyone today? Tom Voxel, Laurie, Vox, Kanakan, welcome. Hope everyone's been well. So let's switch our game to multiplayer. This is the logic testing. If you want to test it in single player, you leave it at that. Multiplayer, you click that. And we're going to start setting up some props and equipment and whatever we need to get Let's use the golden numpad. And we'll set up some players as well. And what we'll do here is we'll set up the teleport. Is this avatar teleport? So teleport avatar to an actor's position. We kind of want to do it with people, don't we? I mean, we could do it with tags, I guess. We'll try it out and see what happens. So first we'll need a volume. And we'll make that a box. Make sure it covers everybody. And what we'll do here is, I think we need to give these guys a tag, but we'll get rid of the behaviors and we'll keep the health on. And we can respawn to tag. And the tag we'll have is SP for spawn point. We'll go ahead and put them over here. We'll take off collisions and visibility. Awesome. Dr. Metaverso, good morning. Wicked to you. Wicked you too. Came a few minutes late. What do you mean by mass teleporting logic? Okay, so in one of our previous streams, we did a obby race test where 10 of us was sprinting down a long stretch, and we all reached the finish point pretty much at the same time. But the volume only teleported one of us, and not the whole group, to the teleport. Then we also created a PvP map where I was able to teleport each player to their designated location. So there might be an issue with teleporting more than one thing to a teleport location at the same time. So we're just going to see how that reacts and see if there's workarounds for it, because people kind of need that for their game jams. So that's what we're going to have a look at today. And I don't know if I can replicate it because the TP here, if we have teleport, it's saying avatar teleportation. So I don't know if I can really use these, but you know, we'll test it out. See what happens. We'll make this into a preset after we add a message. Just call it TP. Rename that to TP trigger, and we'll go ahead and save that as a preset. Cool. Next we're going to add a asset spawner, and we want to bring up our TP trigger and just send a message. So maybe spawn TP trigger. Alright, cool. And what we can do here is we can kill them off here with the message here. And I've already forgotten what we named it. Let me just go ahead and bring out a copy just to make sure we're all good. And it's just TP. Okay. Go ahead and use TP. Alright, Metasaurix says, hey there, I'm having a little bit of problems with your lobby race tutorial, mainly the part where you seem to have trouble with the timer displaying correctly at the same time during multiplayer. All my logic is looping wonderfully though. Any ideas? So you're having trouble with the timer displaying correctly at the same time during multiplayer. So you're saying that everyone sees a different time, or some people don't see the time at all and some do? bring that over here. And we'll set up a trigger, like a lever to push a button. Good old ancient lever. This thing's so ancient, it's been in the game maker pretty much the whole time. I'm going to use a message broadcaster instead of the button. But I want to use a multiplayer one. We'll add interact, and we'll send that to all, and then we'll spawn TP trigger. We'll go ahead and save that one. Both players, sometimes it shows up for one player and other times it shows up for a different one. Okay, yeah, so this is this exact same problem. I'm guessing you bring out a volume trigger which touches everybody, and sometimes it triggers for some and sometimes it doesn't trigger. And it's exactly the same thing here with what I'm doing with the teleport. So it looks like having a single volume at the same time trigger a message for everyone doesn't actually bring up the right info for everybody. We'll see how this reacts. And then we'll see if we can find a workaround. Alright, so when I press E, it should be bringing up a volume that will kill one of these to respawn them, but as you can see, nothing happened. So let's see what's going on here. We're TPing to all. Okay. And I think I have it as every avatar, so I want to change it to specific tags in range, and that tag is we'll just call it NPC. We'll go ahead and put that on our NPCs, and we'll go ahead and save over the existing preset. We'll go ahead and test that again. So no one died. We'll go ahead and check this again. Respawn to tag SP. And I got SP here. I can get rid of that. So it doesn't look like any of them are dying from the volume. NPC. NPC. Enter message is TP. Specific tags in range. TP. Is that because it is a single player health? I think multiplayer talks to single player, right? Maybe not. Let's change this. We'll duplicate it. And we'll make this a single player. And it does keep all our settings. And I'll go ahead and save that over the existing trigger. And we'll see if this one works. Okay, it doesn't look like it's working. If I change it to single player up in the top right. Okay. So you can see it works for single player, but not for multiplayer. And it could be just purely because it's a single player health component. So I'm going to go ahead and delete that. And we're going to go ahead and add a multiplayer one. Okay. So it works for NPCs. We know that much. But it doesn't work for multiplayer avatars because these are all spawning to a tag. But if we wanted to make that a teleport, that will be a bit different, I believe. so what we have here is a multiplayer one. We'll go ahead and save over that, because I think we're using a single player one at the moment. They all seem to work. Maybe respawn the tag, game over. Maybe we need actual people on the gallery for this to work. Interesting. Alright, so I'm going to save this one. And we're going to create a quick map for all of us to join and test it out. This includes Metasaurus's logic for displaying the timer. And yeah, I thought I could probably test it out with some NPCs, but it looks like I can't, because they all die. Maybe I can give him a teleport. Let's see if that works. And the message will be TP, and the spawn will be spawn here. We'll go ahead and put that here, and we'll see if this works. Ah, now we've replicated it. And you can see each time we press E, it's spawning one at a time. So I'm guessing this is the problem we have with multiplayer, where it's not teleporting everybody at the same time. So we're able to replicate that. So that's good. And as you can see, even though the whole volume is there crawling around, when I press E, it randomly picks one. I don't know how it picks. It seems to be different each time. Try that again. Yep, it is different each time. So what we want to do is try to build something that will teleport everybody. Because right now it's teleporting one to everybody to this location, but it's doing it one at a time. So we're going to try a few different things. Here we will make this so TP will bring them here. We can't really have multiple spots because I don't think that would work, but let's duplicate and see if this makes a difference. Now there's 4 locations to teleport to. How will it work? It's just picked one and it's still doing one at a time. So that's no good. We don't want that. Alright, so how else can we do this? If we bring out multiple triggers at the same time, will it teleport 3 or will it teleport 1? Let's find out. It didn't teleport any. Alright, let's go back. Oh, that's because this one, for some reason, didn't save its location. And even though we have 3 volumes, they're all going one at a time. So again, that's not ideal. So that's not going to work either. So this is what I'm thinking people are experiencing in their multiplayer games. They have like an end race or a checkpoint that's meant to teleport everybody, or they bring out a volume to bring them from A to B. But they're all being teleported to the same spot at the same time, and it's not working. In my PvP game, I'm teleporting 8 players to 8 different locations at the same time. So when I bring out that one volume to teleport, it only needs the one volume because it's relying on a teleport's destination, and they're all going to a different destination. So it's allowing them to all go all the time. But we can't do that with multiplayer to individualize it unless you set it up the way I've set it up with collectibles. And that's not ideal for everybody's game. So what we can do is we can send a message after it's sent. So we're TP done. And what we can do here is probably send another one with TP done. So now, when it teleports, it sends a message. But it doesn't look like it's working here either. Let's try adding a replace. And what we're going to do is we're going to replace it with itself. But what we need to do here is save this as a preset. We want to replace it with itself, and then we're going to save that as a preset. And let's see if this does anything. Doesn't look like it works. Let's go into chat. Little Legion says maybe have a volume trigger replace itself when the teleport trigger message is sent to itself. Alright, so I've done that for the volume trigger to replace itself. So that's what I just did. So that doesn't seem to work. Alright, so even though it's replacing... Oh wait, we don't have a message to replace itself. That's my bad. So what we're doing here is TP done. We'll go ahead and put that in here as TP done. So I was thinking along the same lines, but I was just missing a message that would make that work, if it does work. Let's try again. Okay, so this works. Not ideal, but it works. It does one at a time. So it looks like there is quite a significant delay between teleportations. What else could we do? So that kind of works, but you can see how slow it is. So if you have everybody hit the end, you don't want 8 players to take about 8 seconds to get teleported. Although it works. It definitely does work. But that's one way we could work around it. That's not too bad. Let's see if we can do something else. So that's TP done, which is bringing out a new spawner each time. If I get rid of that, does it still work? Because that's on the replace asset itself. Yep, so that does work. Cool. Can we do anything faster? Now what we can do is use a message broadcaster. Broadcaster is faster. And what we can do is have a forever. We'll wait for a message. Delay can be 0.1. Will that work? The message required is TP done. And we want to do it to message to send is what do we want to send? We can send spawn TP trigger. We can try that out. And everyone in range should be fine. Let's see how this goes. This one's still a bit slow. So that one's not going to work either. And that one here is using TP done. So it's relying on each teleportation, which is not going to work. What else can we do? even though I've done it for 0.25 or whatever the case may be, it only requires the first TP done to trigger that, and then spawn TP trigger with its this one here, which takes a delay of 1 second. So that's not going to work. I think replace assets the same. So TP done, even though there's 2, it doesn't really allow the destination here replace quickly. So maybe we can replace this thing here. And we want to replace it with itself. So we'll go ahead and save this as a preset. And we'll select itself and we'll save this as a preset again. And we want this one to be TP done. And we'll save over it again. Alright, this is attempt number 2. Oh, a bit more than 2, but it's another attempt. So it looks like it's, we'll go ahead and just make sure it's visible. I want to see it still being at the feet. When it's TP done, it will be replacing itself with itself. Message required is TP done. And message required is TP. So maybe I can do TP. So again, it only does 1. That's not going to work. And this is spawn TP trigger. Maybe I can do this one. Spawn TP trigger. I don't know if that's what it was beforehand. And it doesn't do anything once it's replaced. So we're going to go and remove that replace and try again. Alright, so it looks like we can't do anything longer than 1 per second when teleporting a mass group to one location. So if you're using one volume to trigger everybody to one TP location, it doesn't work. Whereas in my PvP game, I'm triggering everybody to each to their own location, which means they can all teleport at the same time, but you need something to tell them they're going to their own location. Okay, cool. So what we're going to do now is we're going to play around with where they can go. So we've got spawning point. None of them have the right location. So I wonder if just simply putting that back here will do anything. We've got a message to send after the teleportation, which we don't have. I thought we did have it. May have deleted. I do notice that happens. So you can still see again, it's doing one at a time, and each time it's bigger explosions. So something's going on there. It's not quite ideal, is it? All right. So what we can do instead is we'll have different spawn points. So that's number 1, duplicate. Make this one number 2, duplicate. Number 3, number 4, number 5, number 6, number 7, And number 8. And what we can do here is, yeah, we can send a message and they all go to their own location if we set it up that way. But we can't really set that up in the sense that if all the players reach the finish line, that they all have their own individual spawn point, unless you did the collectible trick with the local variable that I did. So we're going to try a different method. And what we'll do here is we will see if we can send each person to their each location using this. We probably don't want to replace here either, it doesn't quite work. But we can have tag NPC, which could be avatar, and enter message is TP. We can have TP, and then it spawns to the right location. Interesting. So message required is TP. What we can do here is change that. So we'll go here, TP1. And give them their own each individual message required. Okay, and what we're going to do here is enter message. Enter message here is TP. We're going to change that to TP1. Now if I go ahead and just check that out, it doesn't need to be spawned. It's just is what it is. So if I duplicate that and do TP2, we don't have a message. We've got TP1 and TP2. You can go ahead and get rid of that. But still, it picks only one, even though we have 2 messages here. So that's not going to work. So message required here is TP, but we're not actually using TP. And here we got spawn here 1, and they're all going to the same spawn location, which is not ideal. I don't know how to really get past this one, to be honest. So I've put teleport component on the NPCs, and I've put teleport on an actual asset. So message required is for the avatar, even though these things still teleport when it's on themselves. Message required is TP, but I don't have anything that sends out that message TP. But I got TP and TP done, so for some reason it's still teleporting with the message TP, but only one. And they're not going to their own location either. So that's not really working. It's probably best to do it with multiplayer and multiple people rather than NPCs, because the NPCs are relying on a component that's built for the avatar on themselves. If I took away this whole teleporting on the actual NPCs, they won't go anywhere. Or they do. I don't know why they're teleporting. So TP1, TP2, and include tag NPC, TP2. So if I go ahead and move this one away, will it go to the second location? It goes to the first location. And that's got enter message TP2, and it's going to take the NPC to the first one, which is TP1. It should be going to TP2. So that's kind of strange. I'll get rid of this. So I don't even understand what's going on here, to be honest. Yeah, so the target needs to be individualized. That we do know. But we can't really do that in a mass multiplayer game unless you give each person a individual number, like I did, and put them in different locations, which is their own individual spots. But we want to try to work out where we can use a single volume without giving them a local variable to teleport the players. But it doesn't look like that's possible. So that's something that we need to look at in the background on how we can improve the teleport system and send everybody together with the one message to the one location. So you're going to have a bit of trouble trying to do that without doing the local variable trick and having them have their own location to go to. If you had their own, if they had their own location, so let's switch back to, I'll quickly save it to my PvP map, and we'll go through those settings because it works on that one, and we can kind of grasp on how we can set it up to make your lobby multiplayer game use that kind of concept. But I'm imagining that's what most people are experiencing right now with this whole teleporting everybody business. I do get a few DMs about that. Okay. All right, so here, what we've got here is I'll bring up the example so you can see, in case you haven't seen a previous streams where I've set this up and how it works. Okay, so if a player picks up this one, they become player number 1, and you'll see that as a player number on the left, the top left. If I pick up this one, it's player 2, and so forth, all the way to player 8. So when I pick it up, you can see I'm player 8, and when the timer hits 0, it will take me to the 8th location, and there's 8 different locations. Each red squid thing you can see is a place where a teleporter is set up. The player can be teleported there, no issues at all. And I get them to teleport just using a one volume trigger, pretty much. Forgot where I've set that volume trigger up. It's around somewhere. It's probably out of one of these assets. See, TP player to battle area, so that's a preset. TP player to battle area, so this is the asset that comes out when a countdown hits 0, and pretty much it's a volume that covers the whole lobby area, and it TPs all the players to the battle area. Now, because they're all going to their own location, they all do teleport. There's no issues at all. And what's happening is it's going to the rule system. So TP player to battle area. And let me see if I can find it somewhere. I do have quite a bit of rules happening here. And I'll see if I could find where that is. Here. TP player section area. No, that's not it. TP player to battle area. So when that message gets sent, because it spawns the volume and touches everybody, that message gets sent to the rule system. It goes to the rule system to check a comparison. It needs the player's ID, so that's why we use the volume. And in the rules it will say, alright, your player number is equal to 1. We're going to teleport you to player 1 area. And player 1 is where the TP location is. And you got the one for player 2, you got one for player 3, one for player 4. So this message will go through all these comparisons. It will find your number and then teleport you to your number. And that's the way to do mass teleport. But the mass teleport only requires one volume, but it requires multiple destinations. And you can have all these destinations stacked on top of each other, so they're like one spot. They just need to be individual teleport locations. So as you can see, the teleport component won't allow multiple players to teleport to it at the same time. There's like a second delay before it allows the next person to be teleported on top of it. So yeah, that's something to be wary of when you're using the teleporting system in your game jams, when you're trying to teleport all players. I've always been using the rule system, and I've been putting them in their own location. Even the starting location of a race, they can all be next to each other, and they're all getting teleported based on their number. Now at the end of the race, the same thing. You can have a volume trigger that has a message. Everyone can jump into that volume trigger at the same time, but that message will go into the rule system, which it looks at the comparison rule. So rule, comparison, and compare numbers. So you bring one of these out, and you type the message of the volume here. You select the variable for the local number. So we got player number, which is a local variable, which means that each person has their own unique number. If that was global, everyone would have the same number and it wouldn't work. So make sure it's local. And the way to assign people with local variables is for them to collect something. Because once they collect it, that thing is gone and no one else can collect it and assign themselves the same number. So that way you can make everybody have a unique number. And even at the end of the race, you can tell them if they're equal 1, you can teleport to lobby 1. Right, so end race or finish line or whatever the case you want. And we want to compare the player's local number. If it equals to 1, send them to lobby 1. And then all you do here is duplicate, change that to 2, and make that lobby 2. And these can be stacked on top of each other in a lobby. And literally all it is add in your teleport location. Oh, I can show you one that's already down here. So that's an asset spawner. That's an asset spawner. And this is another asset spawner. Here we go. So this is the teleport that they go to. So this is one's for teleport player 1. And this one over here is for teleport player 7. And so forth and so forth. And they can be all stacked on top of each other. So they all spawn in at the location at the same time on top of each other. But the only way that I can see it working is with individual numbers, with individual teleport spots. I can't seem to get it working any other way. Now it could happen that we have multiple volumes with multiple spawn locations. Maybe that could work. We'll go back to our other map we were just working on, and we can test that out quickly and see if that works. I mean, it should work with just a one volume. But yeah, if you have, well, with the NPCs, I don't really understand why they're being teleported to this location. Maybe we can just change that here. And assign each teleport on itself, I should say. Just like that. And if we click play now, let's see what happens. It's going to take a bit to load. Alright, so one went to player 2. That's because we have here TP2. And we got TP3, TP4, TP8. I'm going to duplicate this, just keep it at the back. I'm just going to change the message to TP. We'll see if this works. So again, only one message worked. 1, 2, 3, I don't know why. So this one's TP, this one's TP, this one's TP. So they all got different location, same message. This one here is just called TP2. So even if we use the one volume, we can't get everybody to TP, and that was pretty random. I don't know why this guy here is teleporting to number 5. So if we check out number 5, it's TP and there's number 5, and this one here is just an NPC. So it's quite random. But it's picking number 5 for some reason as the main one to teleport to. If we move this one back, it may be just the closest one. Nope, it's just picking number 5 for some reason. It's got the same tags as everyone else, same message. So I don't know how it decides which one to send it to, because the message is the same. The message is just NPC to TP. Doesn't quite make sense to me, but I can duplicate this and see if there is a difference with sending all of them. Nope, it only triggers one, and that's it. Don't understand that one either. What we could do here is maybe see if bringing all 3 out in a preset might work. 3 TP. We'll go ahead and save that as one preset, and we'll bring it out as an asset spawner. I haven't done any of these beforehand, so we're kind of discovering this together. That one's called new preset, even though I called it something else. So again, I'm seeing a lot of disreferences here. Spawned TP trigger. We'll go ahead and edit logic. spawn TP trigger. Go ahead and we'll just move these out of the way, but we want to keep them. What's this one? TP1. I'll get rid of that. So none of them should be moving when we bring it out. Even though we brought out three volumes, they are all static except one. That's kind of strange. So the best way to move people in groups is just assign them numbers using a local variable in a rule system and teleporting them to their own location, which could all be stacked on top of each other. So as you can see, there's a little bit of issues trying to teleport everybody using the one preset or the one volume component. Something that we will report and fix in the background, but these are things you just need to be aware of when trying to make your game jam entry or some multiplayer game at this stage, which requires a lobby system or a race that teleports everybody at the same time. So that way you can get to your end goal in your creations without going through all this, what's going on, it's not working, what's happening, that sort of thing. But yeah, that's a teleporting. So the rules is where it's at, using a compare number and also to set number value. So when a player picks up a pickable one, we're going to set a local variable, so we'll change global to local, call that player number, and we can just go ahead and put that at the bottom as well. So now that's a local number and we can set the value 1. So when player picks up a pickable, we can assign a value 1 to them. Or what we can do here is if you have different pickables, this could be pickable 2 and assign a value 2. We'll do 3 for this example, and pickable 3 and 3. So if we have a pickable that someone can pick up, it will assign them the number 1, pickable 2, pickable 3. So we'll go ahead and make those assets out here so you can see what I'm talking about. We'll just use the golden key, it's not a problem. And we'll give it a pickable. Oh, actually, is it pickable or is it collectible? I think it's collectible. My bad. I always get those two mixed up. So a collectible, we can broadcast to all, and the message will be pickable 1. It's meant to be collectible, but we'll duplicate that. And we'll change that to pickable 2. And Control D to duplicate again. And this one here will be pickable 3. We'll go back and we'll display the number for everybody to see. We'll play that at the start of the game, so this way we can see it. And we just need to go to rules and click game screen and display variable on HUD. And here we just do show as the message. The variable we want to see is a player number, and we want it to be true so we can see it at the start of the game. So when we press tab, you can see our player number at the bottom. When I pick up the first key, you can see we're assigned player 1, player 2, player 3, things like that, right? And you can do that as many as you want. You can duplicate and change this to 4, whatever the case may be. And then you just go to the rules, and you can just duplicate this and make that pickable 4, make that number 4. But there are easier ways, because if you want like 10 players, instead of creating 10 different set number values, what you can do is just delete all of them except 1. Okay, and what we can do all of that with just a 1 rule set. And we can do that by using message arguments. So what is a message argument? Message argument allows you to send a message and carry a variable with it. So here we'll change the collect message to collectible, and instead of clicking the green one up the top, we do the middle one with argument. We'll go ahead and click to add a variable. The argument type we want is number, and we just can call that player number. It doesn't matter what you put here as long as you remember what it's for. When you do that, the message becomes yellow, and now you have a player number field, and you can put 1 or 2 or 3. So we'll go ahead and delete all of these, and we'll bring this key over here. So now we have a key that's collectible, and it sends the player number as 1. So we go to our rule system. Instead of pickable 1, we'll select collectible, which is yellow, and that allows you to have an option here in message argument, which is player number. So now this one rule will allow you to set multiple different players different numbers based on the number you put here in your collectible. Let me show you an example. So we'll go ahead and duplicate this key, and all we do here, instead of changing a message, we just change the number in this field. And we can duplicate this again, and we can change this number to 3. And we can duplicate this again, and we can change this player to 420. We can duplicate the number again, and this player can be player 69. So now when we press tab and collect these keys, hey Shakespeare, thanks for the raid. So you can pick up a key, and you can see we're player 1. If we pick up this key, we're player 420. Now we're player 3. Now we're player 69. So we used one single message and one single rule to assign players all different numbers based on the message here in the message argument. And this saves a lot of room in the rule system because you're only using one instead of multiple now. And you can change just the number field to change the player's number rather than changing the message for each one and then applying that here. So it keeps things really simple, and it's quite important to understand the message arguments. So you'll use this for your collectible to assign to a player, and once they have that assignment, that can be permanent or it could be changed again if they pick up something else with this message, and that you can use to teleport players from A to B using their number. So let me go back to the rule system. Alright, so we're going to use the comparison rule. We brought this out earlier, but I'll bring it out again. So we go to compare numbers under comparisons. Cool. Now what we can do here is we can compare numbers of the player before we teleport them. So when we say TP player, okay, so when we send a message TP player to the rules, we want to check the player number. And if the player number equals, or you can do not equals, you can do greater or equals, lower than equals, anything you need when it comes to numbers. I generally use equals or not equals, or unless I'm doing percentage based things. But here we want to see if they're player number 1, we want to TP 1. And this is when we do TP player. So I'll go ahead and make this TP player as the message when I push this button. So I'll go ahead and pick up key number 1. So now I'm player number 1, and when I push this button, it's going to teleport me to the first location. Cool. Now if I go back to the rules and I duplicate this, now I've got two messages. It's going to do both at the same time. If it equals to 1, it will send this message. But if I'm equal to 2, it's going to send this message, which will be TP2. So let me go ahead and we'll pick up the first key. And now we're at the first location because we're player number 1. But if we pick up the second key, it makes us player number 2. It's taken me to the second location. If we pick up number 3, I haven't got a rule for this one. So let's see what happens. Nothing happens when I press E, because it requires either a player 1 or a player 2. But we can set that rule up in the rule system and it will teleport player 3 to the right location. And that's how you individualize each player's location to be teleported to. So it looks like that's the only way around for mass teleporting at this stage, is to stack all of these on top of each other, have each player have a individual number. So when you bring out this single volume trigger, it will trigger everybody at the same time, and since they all have a destination to go to without it overlapping with someone else being there, it will work. It's a little bit of a more complex way of doing something that should be more simple. Believe me, it's been looked into. It is something that will probably be upgraded in 0.10, but for now this is the way to do it. If you know any other way of doing it or discover some sort of trick or workaround, do let me know. It will be something that I'd like to teach people, let them know that there is a way. But after the tests we've done to date, we weren't able to do that with replacing or with multiple presets or message broadcaster that ticks quicker. So there are quite a few limitations, because it only allows 1 per second to the teleport destination. So yeah, that's what we're doing here today. And don't think I have many more things to test, but let's have a quick look and see if it's possible to think of something else, but I don't think there is. Because once it's teleported, it doesn't replace quick enough, so it's still like 1 per second, I believe. But that's just the way it is. Next week I'm going to be talking about NFT sensor. I don't think many people have gone through the NFT sensor. I don't have any tutorials on this one, but this one should be an interesting one, where you can activate things in the game based on the player holding an NFT in their wallet. That includes picking up power-ups, doors opening, teleport activations, or even loading a whole experience based on the NFTs. And if they don't have the NFT, it can bring up a pop-up screen which asks them, do you want to purchase the NFT? And then you can click a button and it goes to the shop store for the player to purchase that NFT. That's quite a useful feature, and we'll go through it and gamify it and see what we can do with it in next week's episode. But that's all I got for you today. I wanted to work more on a PvP game because what I designed last time crashes the server, but the game loop works. I just don't know what sort of gameplay what we can put into it, because it requires, you know, upgrades, and the only upgrades we can do without a pickable and a wall shooting is basically movement speed. So we can only alter movement speed, and there's nothing really else to upgrade. But I'm thinking about it, seeing what else we can introduce. We'll talk to the devs, see if we can get things like bigger jumps and smaller jumps and other power-ups that we can use for the upgraded feature. But yeah, that's all I have for you today, guys. So thanks for tuning in, and if you have any questions, just message me on Discord as always. Thank you again. Have a great day.